Welcome, this video is going to be covering vertical angles. The learning target is for you to understand the properties of a vertical angle, and to do that you have to be able to identify and solve for vertical angles. So let's explore the construction of vertical angles. Here we are given a straight line, and let's cut this line by another line. We call that line the transversal line. There are two angles here, A and B. Okay. What are the other angles in this picture? So look at the bottom end of that angle. There's angle B on the bottom left hand side, and there is angle A on the bottom right hand side. So let's find the values of the missing angle. If this side originally was 70 and the left hand side is 110, we know that has to be true because of linear pair. The bottom left hand side is going to be 70 because these two are reflection from each other, and if this is 70, the right hand side has to be 110 because they're linear pairs. So if you notice or wonder something interesting about these angle measurements, you're going to notice that they all make linear pairs. The angles are just reflection of each other over the shear line. The vertical angles are congruent. So in this case, the equations would be angle 1 and angle 4 are congruent. Angle 4 and angle 1 are also congruent. 3 and angle 2 are congruent, and 2 and angle 2 and angle 3 are congruent. Why? Because they are just reflection of each other. Let's look at the linear pair concept here. Two angles that add up to make a straight line is what a linear pair is. And we know that as supplementary angles. If we set this up originally, we could say that the top angles here, 1 and 3, make 180 degrees. They're linear pair. They make a line. 1 and 2 also make a line right here. So that also adds up to 180. Or we could look at the bottom two angles that make that line, 2 and 4, which is 180. And we could also say 3 and 4 make up 180. Notice they're just different linear pairs in this whole angle. So now let's take a look on how to find the missing angle given here. You could either look for linear pairs or you could look for vertical angles. But we know that this is angle 35. Let's go over the solution. We know that angle 1 is linear pairs with 35. So 35 plus angle 1 is 180. I did the subtraction. I get angle 1 as 145. We know that this is 40. Let me just write this as angle 145. And we know that angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical angles. This also has to be 145. Why does it also have to be 145? Because again, if you combine this line like this was where the 35 was. This also has to be 45 because this makes a line. Do you see that? It also makes a linear pair. That's why. Or you can just say that it is vertical angles because angle 1 can be reflected to make angle 3 by reflection. And we know because reflection is a rigid motion, the angles are also going to be the same. So we could say angle 1 is equal to angle 3. What is angle 2? You can say that angle 2 is a reflection of 35 or reflection, or you can say that angle 2 is a linear pair with angle 1, which is 45. Either way, angle 2 has to be 35. Okay? So you can either use linear pair or vertical angles to get the missing values. What I would like you to do here is to find the missing values of each angle. There are 3 different missing angle measurements here. Pause the video and give this a try. Let's look at number 1. We know that angle 1 here has to be 152 because 152 plus 28 is 180 degrees. Do you see how here it makes this line of 180 degrees? 2 is 28 because vertical angles, and 3 is a vertical angle because it is reflected from angle 1. Okay. Likewise, 22, you can say here that angle 1 is 56. Why? Because if you take a look, these are linear pairs. So because angle 1 and 124, angle 1 plus 124 is equal to 180. So subtract 124, subtract 124, get you angle 1 is equal to 56. Okay. Angle 1 and angle 3 are reflection from each other, so they're vertical angles at 56 degrees. Angle 2 and 124 are reflections of each other. They're vertical angles, so this is also 124 for angle 2. Angle 3. Angle 1 for number 3. Angle 1 here is 113. If you would like to see that, angle 1 plus 167 is equal to 180 because again this is a linear pair. Subtract 67, subtract 67, angle 1 is equal to 113. Since this is 113, you can do vertical angles, so angle 1 and angle 3 are the same at 113. Angle 2 is reflection of 67, so that's why angle 2 is also 67. So this is a very simple way of doing it. Sometimes they are where you have to solve for the variable. In this case, solving for the variable is just solving for x. So you have to solve for the missing angle. But again, you're going to set up the equation the same way. We know that angle. We know in number 1, we know that. Please understand, you always have to write out the equation to solve for the missing variable. We know that these 2 angles are vertical angles, that they are the same. If they are the same, you set them equal to each other, okay? This is equal to this because they're vertical angles. That's the only reason why I'm allowed to set up that equation. But number 2, these 2 are linear pairs. They're not vertical angles. Let me repeat. These 2 angles make a line. They're linear pairs. So they add up to 180. These are your 2 types of equations, okay? The vertical angle one, which is congruent, or the linear pair one, which is they add up to 180, okay? You have to distinguish between these 2. Do not get them confused. All right, now let's just solve for it. I draw the line here to separate it. I'm going to subtract 2x to both sides. The 2x here cancels out. You get x is equal to 16. So the x in this case is 16. Number 2, I'm going to draw this line and just separate it. I simplify this because we just get rid of the parentheses by multiplying by 1. 15t plus 20t is 35t. Nothing else changes, so we bring everything straight down. Subtract 5 to both sides. This 5 cancels out. You get 35t on the left hand side is equal to 175. Divide by 35 to both sides. You get x is you get t is equal to 5. Okay. This is the hardest that it's going to get when it comes to solving for vertical angles. Make sure you're able to set up the equation properly, then do the algebra. Here I would like you to give this a try. You're going to solve for the missing angle measurement. Remember, set up the equation properly, okay? Ask yourself, are these vertical angles or linear pairs? Number 3, we know that these 2 angles are vertical. So this and this are x and the 2 angles are vertical. We know that the 2 angles are vertical, so 5r plus 5r plus 5 equals to 90. This is also 90 because this is perpendicular. Subtract 5 to both sides, you get 5r equals to 85. R is equal to 17. This case are very unique. Okay? 4. First of all, you want to look that the two lines are linear pair. So these two here add up to 180 degrees because they make a line. Draw the line straight down. Ooh, I set this up wrong. This should be, oh, no, this, wait, hold on. Oops. That wasn't the linear pair I was looking at. The linear pair I was looking at was this one. Okay. The 110x plus 10 plus 110 degrees. So I was setting up this linear pair. Add these together. You get 10x. 10 plus 110 gets you 120. Subtract 120 to both sides. You get 10x equals to 60. Divide by 10 to both sides. You get x equals to 6. Next, for 5, I said that these two are vertical angles. 5x is equal to 100. Divide 5 to both sides, you get x equals to 20. So again, you have to be very careful. How are you going to solve for the angles? Make sure you are able to identify them. Okay? Let's look at delta math here to see a very common question. Here it asks us which angle is a vertical angle to EHG, angle EHG. So angle EHG, E is right here, H and G. So it's angle 7. What is vertical angle to angle 7? It looks like it is angle 9. So I'm going to put 9 here and let's see if we are correct. Yes, we are correct. Angle EHG is angle 7, which is right here. And if you reflect that, it makes angle 9. Because vertical angles are directly opposite on the intersecting line. Okay? Because that's a typical delta math question. Okay? But that's it. Now you know how to find properties of vertical angles.